But this Pentagon and Pope Strict P. It's our first broadcast. We just fooling around with this. We figured why not? We're gonna put our thoughts out there, comments. Do what black men do. What up, though? Pope Strict P.
Yeah, I hear you coming through.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, man.
So we talk about a ton of things, especially when even when we ain't smoking cigars or drinking. So we a big fan of a lot of the YouTube community, the manosphere out there. We like listening to a lot of stuff. We keep open mind,
Conservatives,
conservatives,
liberals,
liberals,
socialists,
socialists,
all
all
that.
that.
Republican,
Republican,
Democrat,
Democrat,
we
we
listen
listen
to
to
everybody.
everybody,
Because
because
that's
that's
how
how
it
it
should
should
be.
be.
Yeah. If you want to better you, if you want to better your, you want to sharpen your sword, you got to bounce ideas off. Get out your fucking bubble. You know what I'm saying?
Why you think people stay in the bubble?
Because it's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? People learn what they learned growing up, and they just stick with that shit. Don't nobody really think about the shit that they. Well, I can't say nobody, but most people don't really think about the shit that they believe. They just believe it. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear a term thrown around by a lot of guys. They call them normies. You know what I'm saying? People that really just don't pay attention to this or that. They just trying to live their life and get by. Which ain't nothing wrong with that, but you end up limiting yourself in a lot of areas when when you don't open your mind up to other concepts, other ideas. So
So you basically living in that matrix
yeah, that's what it is.
mythology.
Yeah,
The blue pill and the red pill, huh?
yeah, but that's a funny term, man, because blue pill, the whole blue pill, red pill. People get introduced to that term by different communities. It can be a political term. They use it in those spaces. But I first heard it years ago. In the men's rights spaces. Pretty sure they started using it first. Um, I put you on that movie, The Red Pill. That movie back in the day, and
Oh
that's what it
yeah.
was called. Yeah, The Red Pill. So it really started there. Um, Conservatives kind of co-opted it, I think, and started using it for their own purposes. But it's still all same. It all applies though, same concept.
Well, shit, didn't a white woman come out with that movie?
That made that movie. Yeah, she was
The
yeah,
red
she was
pill.
a documentary maker. Um, but the men's right guys, they've been using that term, and they was out years before she made that movie. It started getting popular around, I don't know, maybe 2011, 2012. Some stuff went viral on some of these college campuses. Guys putting together conferences and talks to talk about men's issues, and basically feminists bogart the fucking place, trying to basically cancel. You know what I'm saying? Probably the birth of what's known as cancel culture, shouting motherfuckers down, not wanting to hear any ideas. If it ain't what I believe, then it's toxic and all that other bullshit. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, with that community, you know, it ain't even about race. It's just about the gender. And people think it's a black, white, any other color, nationality. No, it ain't about that. It's just about a man, like, just being me. And we get the short end of the stick when, like James Brown said, we make the world, baby. It's a man's world.
yeah. The latest feminist, well, I won't even say feminist, but gender studies, like those topics. Um, when they introduced intersectionality, they kind of brought race into it and tied everything together. But it started that way, yeah, man, woman, type of thing. Of course, concepts get convoluted. You know what I mean? People take them and start to describe it and run with them based on what they think it means, even though they're not doing any real study on what it means. So it's it can get real deep. It can get real nuanced. The conversations, if you're not tracking everything, then it's real easy to get trapped in muddy waters. And start to thinking that one concept means one thing when really it's got nothing to do with that concept. That's one of the, I guess, pros and cons of the internet. A pro, everybody can put their ideas out there however they think about them. The con being that if you don't know how to process all of that different information, you get muddy waters. So
Well, I think a lot of us men who was raised by women, we were in Simpville for a little bit. We was living there, and now we moved out of Simpville and moved into the manhood. You really opened your mind, and you can clearly see the agenda against you. Especially what I'm saying black men. But it goes across the board with every race. You know, we just like I said, we just getting the low end of the stick. It's like take it or leave it. You know, and I hate that mentality that the world's promoting because we got young fellas coming up and they think the way they see things on TV now, the internet is normal for men to be like. Skinny jeans, uh, doing twerking with your girl, shit like that, man. That's I would never would have made it out the city doing some shit like that. Twerking, I don't care. Like, dog, like this is how far the young cats. Then they want to be gangsters after that. You know, everybody want to be a gangster on the internet.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was listening to some. I think it was on MTR. He was addressing somebody in that.
Shout out to MTR.
Oh yeah. Kind of going back to that idea of you know one getting the short stick over the other, and I think it's more nuanced than that. So it depends on what we're talking about. Like it depends on what time period you're talking about, right? Like if we're talking about in your younger years, you know what I'm saying, choosing and getting out here. Of course, the woman's value is going to be above what yours is as a man, just based on what men and women are judged on. You know what I'm saying? We're not ranked the same way. So just physical beauty and just being in that youth, the women have it better in that aspect. But as time goes on, your worth builds. You know what I'm saying? Your finances start to get built up. I mean, and you hear this repeated from a lot of different guys, and it's true. The men, we don't really start hitting strides until you get into mid to late 30s, early 40s. But of course, by that
Mm-hmm.
time, the women and their power, that shit done fell off. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, so it kind of ends up balancing itself out long term. So it just depends on how you look at it. If you're looking at um, just overall, I don't know what term, um, general well-being and how people see one group versus the other. As a man, ain't nobody giving a fuck about what I'm saying, where you are or what them struggles are as a
Yeah.
man. I mean, it's just kind of your
Especially how
own
you
thing to
feel.
deal with as a
Nothing.
man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the guys they used to call it back in the day the empathy gap. That's what they used to
Mm-hmm.
call it. So you heard of the wage gap. That's what they used to call it, the empathy gap. So there's a lot more consideration given to women generally. Um, so they get a chance to benefit off of that. That's why you see a lot of women falling into like victimhood politics and things of that nature because there's some power in that, even though won't admit that shit to you, but it is. You know what I'm saying? When people can look at you and feel a certain way and feel sympathy for you, give you the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm gonna be honest, as a man, I'd rather have it the way it is. In a way, like that's not empathy ain't something I'm looking for generally as a man.
Yeah.
I think there's more
Mm-hmm.
power in being able to forge your own path and establish your own worth based on the things that you do rather than having somebody do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Based on
Exactly.
some victimhood. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just the way you look at it, right? And what topic we're talking about.
So basically, just go out and get it. Fuck what everybody think.
Yeah,
You
that's it.
know. You know what I'm saying? This that's how it should be. But I don't. I don't see nothing wrong with a little help and guidance, a little along the way.
Well, yeah, I
You
mean, if
know.
you, because see, and I think this is where a lot of this stuff gets misconstrued. It's like a lot of, um, I won't say complaints, but a lot of the issues that the dudes bring up regarding the way that they're treated generally coming up. It's in the context of okay, um, as a woman, you get the benefit of the doubt in this area, that arena. You get this help, you get that help. So when they start, like again, way more than we do. I mean, it don't matter what you're
Entitlement
looking at.
starts early
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
women. For
and
little girls, let's put it that way. For little girls, like
yeah,
when they come out, it's entitlement.
right, and continues their whole life. Like they'll get a lot more over you as a man. Um, so it's always so when guys bring that up, it's generally in response to you know women playing the victim in those same arenas. It's like you can't. I mean, well, you can. It's just be hypocritical. Like if you want to tout as a woman the fact that you down for this reason, that reason, and that reason. I mean, you can do that, but then again, they breaking their arm, patting themselves on the back when they reach certain levels and attain certain things. When it's like, well, you done had a leg up the whole time. You know what I'm saying? You got
Yep.
people, safety nets and people
Yeah.
pulling you up and all over
Scholarships,
the fucking place.
grants. I mean,
Yeah.
we can name things just like now that I'm older, I'm in my late 30s, man. There's so many opportunities for them just off their gender alone. And we talk about, especially, you know, just women having the
Yeah.
ability to just get what they want when they cry. It goes back to that whole, when you're a little boy, they tell you to cry. When you crying, they like shut the hell up. And I ain't tripping off of that. But then a little girl cries, she get cuddled. What's wrong? I mean, that's just. And I don't know if it was just at the times have changed because I can't speak on 1900, 1800s, 1950s. I can only speak from the 80s to present, and that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Is
Well, that's age old. All you got to do is you can go back and look at read old stories from written back in those time periods and newspaper articles and just get the general tone of how one is treated versus the other. And 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 I think it's missed a lot of the time um, in the eyes of the women because they don't see. It's like, and here's the thing: everybody just looks at life through their own eyes, so it's easy to fall into recognizing your own shortcomings and the things that um, that are a hindrance to you as a woman or a man from that perspective. But again, if you're a thinker, you'll be able to look at things objectively from both sides. So kind of going back, okay, what you said about basically crying about whatever, and basically having somebody give you that, right? Right now, or as of right now, I don't think there's been any resolution. But the Supreme Court was looking at the validity of the draft and selective
oh
service,
yeah,
right?
I remember they were talking about that years ago.
Yeah. I just saw a story like 3 days ago that it's up in the Supreme Court, and they kind of going back and forth about, you know, is it basically is it constitutional for you to force women into that role, or one over the other only? Because currently, women
Equality.
women yeah, well, women don't have to do that, but we
They
do,
want
right?
equality.
And it kind of ties, and that goes all the way back to the voting rights, right? Like, so voting rights for women, women got voting rights, I believe it was 1919, like a little over 100 years ago. They, just got to vote. But there's a lot of nuance lost in that, right? So one of those nuances being, in 1917, you had a group of men actually petitioning to get rid of the draft. Um, and it was found in that court case. You'd have to Google it. I don't know the name of the case off the top of my head. It's been a while since I went
Hmm.
looking for that, but it was found in that case that men can be drafted and be ordered to, register in selective service because um, your voting rights is tied to, your citizenship, just like registering is. You know what I mean? They basically connected those two together. So if you don't serve, you don't have those voting rights. Like there's an obligation for your voting rights as a man, like still is today.
But
Whereas
now, if
two
you go to
years,
prison for felony or certain charge, now they take that
yeah,
away
they can
from you.
take
So it's
that
the
away.
new,
Yeah,
that's the new wave of it now,
yeah, they can take it away for a lot
which
of
is,
different things. But generally, just on the selective service topic, if you don't register for that, you lose that right. So your right to vote as a man is tied to an obligation.
or
Whereas
you go
with
to
women,
jail.
yeah. Whereas
Even if
with
you don't register, you go to jail. They come pick you up.
right. Whereas with the women, um, they, basically, to use your term, cried about something. You know what I'm saying? The voting rights. 2 years later, and they get those voting rights with no obligation for
Yep.
nothing. So that's always the part that's missing. It's like, okay, like any advantage, or traditionally, that you would get as a man is always tied to some responsibility, always tied to some obligation. Whereas when women tend to get theirs, there's no obligation at all. Like you don't have to do
Nothing.
anything for it; you just get it. And that part of the conversation is always missing. Like so just one of those nuances, like I say, and you see examples of that in all of these conversations, when you start really breaking it down and getting into the topic. So
Yeah, because we just chopping it up right now, y'all. We just, just turned this mic on and start going. This is the first one for us. Uh, so forgive us if we go a little off topic here and there.
yeah, well, ain't
So,
no off topics here.
yeah,
We're just running mouths. It ain't
yeah,
no,
when you smoking cigars and having a drink, that's how it goes sometimes.
yeah, shit just roll out.
It's beyond barbershop talk. But at least the real barbershop, I ain't talking about HBO version.
Right.
Which you know who.
Oh, the barbershop. Not we ain't talking about the barbershop where they forced the beauty shop and that motherfucker at the same time, and they handicap the conversation. We talking about straight up barbershop. You know what I'm saying?
uh, yeah, I mean, you think about my life. Let's touch a little bit on domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about that all the time with women and violence, man. And I can go back to my childhood playing pal football and little girls playing football. I think I was like in the age to 10 group back then, and she poked me in my eye. That ain't football. We don't poke people in the eye of football.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't supposed to. But she
Well,
went to
boy.
use a dirty tactic,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just started swinging on her because that's just instinct. And I can remember the coaches running out there like, "You can't hit that girl," and it's like my coaches come behind like she out here playing football. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You want me to treat her like a girl when we play a physical sport like that. That shit don't work.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, and
you
I was.
just can't do no shit like that, man. And it goes back to entitlement. Somebody must have told her she could do that and she could get away with it and nobody gonna bother. But when she picked on me, I was the wrong one.
Well, see, and here it's and I was gonna say, because I was gonna ask you, like, would you even know that it was? Because here's the thing: when you full padded up, helmets on, hell, you don't know who up under that motherfucker. You know if somebody
Oh
did some
no,
dirt,
we could tell that was a girl
so
at
you
that
could tell. Okay, okay.
time.
Yeah, I was
It ain't
about to
like
say.
now.
that would have been my first thought if I seen like shit. Do you even know who's who up under that motherfucker? But I get, yeah,
Nah,
I guess
nah,
you
you can
would.
tell.
You could tell.
Yeah, they sometimes they got their hair out, but the crazy part is, it's like there they go. Oh, I could play football with the boys too.
See,
Like
I
leave that shit to the boys. If I want to have football for girls, let the girls play football. Bottom line, I'm just sick and tired of this, especially in sports. It's like, well, come do what the boys do. No, dog, we gotta have some separation in what we, compete against each other. We shouldn't have girls competing in boys, and especially like I seen it in wrestling.
mm,
It may not be a huge community of girls wrestling in certain states where they got, competition. Well, somebody need to create one. But now you put them on the mat with boys, and I've seen some girls beat guys,
oh
but
yeah.
because if they got it, I mean, that's a skill. When you talk about combat,
Hmm.
you know,
They got some advantages in that field too. Like if you think like I mean, there's things that they can do better than we. Like they like more flexible, more limber. So something like wrestling or like jiu-jitsu, I can eat. Yeah, I can see females having an advantage in
but think
certain
about this:
positions, in certain instances. Definitely, absolutely.
if you get on, if, okay, wrestling or karate or some type of martial arts, it's like you have a killer instinct coming into it. You want to knock that person out. But when you see a girl,
Yeah,
it's like your
completely
mind,
stifles it. Yeah.
like only like for me, I'm still going in with that killer instinct. I'm not. I don't see your gender because it's you against me.
Mhm.
That's just me though. That's what I was taught. But when other guys, they get like, oh shit, I'm going against a girl now. And then they might get a little soft, play around with it.
I can see that easy.
It's like when you watch these war movies or these gladiator type shows. Now they got the women out there in the battles. I mean, that happened every now and then back in those centuries. Very rare, but they put that on TV like that was a normal thing when that shit wasn't true.
That's where the propaganda comes in. You know, they want to push certain agendas and push certain. Basically it goes back to making them feel like they can do something this or that, and there's nothing wrong with doing that to a point. But you know what I mean. You got to be
That
realistic.
representation piece.
Right, right,
They
right.
want that representation, no matter if it's fake or not.
Yeah, you gotta be realistic because people are. You don't want people to start believing stuff that's just outlandish, and a lot of times they can go overboard with that. So, hey, we still. I seem like I stopped hearing you in my head. You still got that going?
Oh, wait a minute. I think, can you hear me?
No, I don't hear you playing back. Like before, I could kind of hear you repeating in my. It might still be. It may still be recording. We just can't hear it. I don't know. We can check it on the playback. Oh, I just heard myself.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, like we say, this is the first time have
Little technical difficulty.
we ain't got to the expensive studio equipment yet. So we might have had lost a little bit. What I said, I don't know.
Yeah, just messing around.
But yeah,
I don't want to plug in.
what you trying to
Yeah, just plug in. My charger going.
oh. But yeah, man, this shit out here is crazy. The things that's going on, you know. We was just talking about the young fella from Virginia Tech, and got locked up because he met some girl off the internet. Well, he thought was a girl, and they pushed the agenda on like
Dollars.
these folks with the LGBTQ
No, $8.
can do whatever they want basically. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I should hear you talking.
Yeah. So they basically, if a guy gets tricked, you know, and he gets upset about it, it's like, okay, what would you think somebody's gonna do? I ain't saying you gotta kill somebody, but it can happen. But when they tricking people knowing they are, there's no repercussions for them, especially with the law.
Yeah, that's dangerous, man. That's a dangerous precedent. Don't nobody really talk about that though, because you don't want to. Everybody got to be PC. That's a new thing, right now. You know what I'm saying? PC,
Dude, man, I
stepping on the
wish it was
wrong
back in
toes,
the
but
day, dog. Sanford and Son, all of them. I mean, even if you go back to the '70s and '60s, man, it's like you can honestly sit down and watch a news anchor question the person they're interviewing with some hard ass questions, and the person can answer back with no fucking filter. Like now, you got to watch everything he say because of the so-called cancel culture, you know, and that means that you handcuff what America was really built on. We wouldn't be able to do all the things we do, or people wouldn't come here if it wasn't for those rights, freedom of speech, and two way. I mean, we could go into the gun thing, but we the only country where you can walk out your house as long as you got the right permits and all that. If your state has that, with a gun, a pistol, a rifle in your vehicle
hmm
on your hip,
hmm
and then you got people saying we shouldn't have that. It just
that's some of that normie thinking. You don't really people don't put together. And this is crazy, right? Because to me, the way I see that is, as a black man, it's like in my mind, you would think, more black people would understand the value of freedoms. You know what I'm saying? Being an ex-slave population, but apparently, I mean, propaganda they talk you right out of this shit. I mean, you be giving it away. Like, I'm not
yeah,
giving
you
mine
voting
away, but shit, I mean,
shit. Yeah,
that's what they got you, man.
you voting people in office who don't give a damn about you. And I've always questioned politicians. It's a job. It's like entertainment, damn near. They go up on stage, speak real well to you, make it sound good, make you sound like it's believable. And then when they get in office, I mean, sometimes even at the lower level, it's like, oh, you ain't held on to your promise.
Yeah, and that's
You
that's
know,
common. That's common for the politicians. Like, don't none of them actually hold up to what they say when they go in there. And you can. It don't matter how many times you see it. And this go again the whole normie way of thinking. Like as soon as your candidate is in there, everybody go to sleep. Ain't nobody paying attention to what's happening nowhere.
yeah.
Like
I
my
mean, the
person is
world
in
don't
there, I'm
sleep.
good.
The world does not sleep
Right.
once you elect somebody. It's like, okay, I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna campaign for this politician for a year or 2 years, whatever it is. Then when he get done, it's like it's
Okay.
over with. Game
That's it.
over.
You're not that like most people. You're not
Let's
even
move
paying
on to the
attention.
next one.
Yep. Not even paying attention to no promises or holding people to what they said they were gonna do or what they just don't. Well, my guy won. It's over with. Like it's like
Yeah,
like playing a rooting for a damn sports team or something. Like it really don't go no
yeah.
farther than that.
You on the hot team right now, but then when that hot player go to another team, now you on that team.
Mm.
You follow wherever he go or she go. To speak of the sports, man. I don't know if you heard about the tennis player. Damn, I can't think of her name, man. But she decided not to go into the French Open because mental health issues or whatever. Everybody, especially black women, was behind her for sitting out, and they even had campaigns to raise money for mental awareness. And I'm down for mental awareness, but let that have been a black athlete, black male athlete, dude. It would have been chaos. Like you ain't trying to do your sport, you get paid all this money. She a tennis player. She make more money than most athletes on an NBA team, NFL team. What baseball.
Yeah,
And it's crazy. Again, it goes back to the gender. It's like it's okay for a woman to do that,
I
but
think.
then when a man want to take some mental rest,
Yeah,
it's like, no, you supposed to go out there and be a horse, a thoroughbred.
yeah. And that's. I think. Young man Kwame Brown was on. Did he say something about that? Like I ain't really been listening to young Kwame, but I
Yeah,
know people was. I heard it in other conversations when talking about him where that came up. I don't really follow that too much. Uh, the whole I think her name was Osaka, something like what was going on, or I don't really follow her career. But yeah, just another one of those examples. You know what I'm saying of
hello.
you know just that empathy gap. Just showing again. But it is what it is. Like I say, I don't. You get to a point where it's like once you understand it, um, it stops becoming something to be upset about. Like you just know it is what it is. As long as I know the rules of the game, I know how to play it and come out on top regardless. It don't matter what motherfucker want to give me or not give me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we should be overall. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we talk about manhood. Like no, like know the learn it, understand it, know the game, know what you can and can't do, and then play the game to your best of your ability and win anyway. You know what I'm talking about? And no matter what the
Yeah, what?
cards are, I'm gonna play to win.
Yeah, you work like you've been working for a long time, right?
Hmm.
And you get your days off. And what if you like, man? I need to take a mental break. You know, you eat, you still gonna be looked down for taking
Yeah.
a break. It's like you're not supposed to. Your brain, your body's supposed to be on work mode 24/7, even while you sleeping.
Hmm.
It's like we programmed to work. Which I don't have no problem with men working because we need to work. You need to be something that you feel satisfied doing every day and going out there to get it because that's the only way.
Right.
But if you do happen to need that break, it shouldn't be no question. It should be nothing but support. It shouldn't be like, well, you should be, you can't be sitting out taking walks or going outside taking walks because you took off or I don't know, go do yoga or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
But it's not in our cards. It's like, why are you doing that? You should be working.
Hmm.
But if you really need some mental health, you should be able to go get it. Now, of course, in the black community, it's frowned on to go see therapists, and I think now it's more open talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still not geared to black men or men. Period. It's still like it's a woman thing.
No, not in that field. Like the field is dominated. Um,
It is
by
dominated by women.
females. Yeah, by female therapists. The the theories
It's
and the
one sided.
solutions, yeah, are geared towards more female health. The therapists, especially if you've been going to college, especially talking about these new ones, say if it's been the last 10, 15 years, they got those degrees there. The curriculum that even teaches them is female centric from the beginning. So it's all pushed that way. That's why a lot of dudes don't. It's like we talk about stuff like couples therapy and shit like that. Like a lot of dudes shy away from that right off the top because they already know what the game is. Like you're not gonna go in
Yeah.
there and have your perspective taken seriously as a man generally because it's not they're not taught to treat what I'm saying, they're part of it as serious. It's always in that one direction. So, and it affects everything. It infects everything. And you just got to be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? As a young man coming up, like I say. Um,
But I think therapy is good. You know, as long as you're able to get over
yeah, yeah.
what's not happening, because it ain't. I mean, you still got to live on,
And
and
let
I
me see
know
that
it's
right
easier
there.
said than done.
And let me see that right there, man. Let me just hop on top. You got these fly little beat cutters.
Yeah.
I'm finna mess around, man, with this damn thing. I just got me one a little while ago. Yeah, look at that thing, man.
Yeah, I'm about to light up this Monte Cristo White Series
That's what's
Yeah,
up,
I
man.
love these cigars, man. I can say one thing: my old man got me into a cigar. You know, I always thought I had this fascination about cigars. You was a boss when you smoke a cigar. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. See, I'm over here messing with yours. Uh, I'm on this Romeo and Juliet right here. Uh,
yeah, they
limited
make good
edition,
stuff.
age. You know what I'm saying? That's my here hitting, man. A little bit stronger than I thought it was gonna be. So this right here, man. So you got a punch in the bottom of this one too. That's fly shit, man. Nice little cut.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
That's how you
yeah.
do it.
I know who gifted that one. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, you gotta let folks know what you like.
yeah. Get something out of it. Get something out of it.
Hey man, we touched on a lot, but speaking of that though, how you feel about the whole gift thing? You know, like women asking for gifts and expecting gifts versus a man, you know,
Well, like
expecting.
everybody flows with the culture, man. You know, and if it's I mean, it just depends on your philosophy as far as men and women and what you think you should be you should get or expect as a man versus a woman. Of course, if it's traditional, if you got a traditional mindset, generally, men ain't getting stuff like that because traditionally, we the providers, we got the bread. You know what I'm saying? We the ones providing that to the woman and gifting that to her. And it's based on thanks for for continuing and helping you in your space and taking care of your role. You know what I mean? It's to help you out so you can go out there and fight the world and get that. You know what I'm saying? Your house is taken care of. But, you know, if that female comes out and it's with her it's 50-50, well shit, I would expect 50-50 if it's 50-50. I mean, but that's
Yeah,
that's what
speak
I
on that
mean.
50-50 because it's some women that don't agree with the 50-50 thing, and there's some that do. They cool with that, but
Yeah,
it's,
and
it's, it's pros and cons to both.
yeah, it's always pros and cons. I mean, anything you select, you can't just take all of the benefits, even though that's what a lot of them try to do. But there's always a
A lot of them, sure
yeah,
enough.
yeah. But that's I think that's a good point to make. To always remember when you're having these discussions is that there are different groups of women that will expect certain things versus other groups of women. Same for the men, and I think a lot of times in these conversations, when people start generalizing a little bit too hard, they gets lost in the conversation. Like you start, attributing ideas to the whole group that's only held by a few. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you go say 50-50, then that's what it need to be, and that's benefit and responsibility. That's obligations. All of it should be 50-50.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if
So,
I was
so,
gonna go that
so,
route, I don't live mine like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm shit. Like I came up, strong male influence in the house. When my folks split, you know what I'm saying? I already know with my pops. So it was me, my pops, and my brother in the house. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of hard legs in there. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a whole lot of that female catering. You should do this and you should do that. This nigga shit. Go out there and work and get yours. And if a chick want to get with the program, when she come with you, then
then
she getting with the
roll with it.
program. Yeah, roll with it. You know what I'm talking about? But
But now you even get those chicks don't want to roll with the program. They still
nah,
want. Some of
it
it's
ain't a
like
lot. It ain't a lot of traditional women. That's for sure. That shit is.
you know, dude. I'm a direct type of guy, and I know my role. You know, and the expectation. I'll do whatever I gotta do to make shit happen. No matter if I gotta be broke and make it happen. I gotta sit my ass down. I got it. You happy? I'll make it. Try to make it happen.
Yeah.
But you know, some women don't even appreciate that shit. It's always more, more, more. And I mean, you got to look at that early. And when you dating some of these women, you know, you can tell. how
Yeah,
she gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So basically, if you know she want a lot of nice shit in the beginning, you can't be mad at her, marry her, and she just want that shit again.
yeah,
That's,
yeah, yeah.
but so you gotta you make your own bed, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You set the expectation for the relationship. So if so in the very beginning, you need to be asking the right questions to get down to the bottom of what is it that you expected. And if it don't fit with your program, let cut that motherfucker loose quick and move on to the next one. It don't do you no good fucking around. Like we talking about.
That's one thing I've learned. It's so many women out here, man. It's okay to be alone by yourself and get your thoughts together, get your life together, and then, like they say, if you chasing women, the money ain't gonna come. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
you chase money, they're gonna come
Yep.
because it's just the natural instinct of the jungle. You know how it is. You you go out there and hunt, meaning you getting your money, you be trying to stay healthy. You know, you just taking care of your man. Shit. What I always look at a perfect example is from a movie. Is Boys in the Hood. Trey Father, the Lawrence Fishburne character. When he got Trey, he just went on ahead and took that responsibility, no questions asked. And then he went to school, got his education, was still doing his thing. He wasn't out there drinking, smoking. Like I can't find a father movie, like especially in the hood environment.
Yeah. Beyond that,
Like
that's about the
you
only one I
know,
could think
I
of with a
mean, if
strong
you're
male
talking
role
about
model.
Friday,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
he went to
that's a good
work.
example. That's a good
He went
example.
to work too.
Because when we had this conversation, because I think we were listening to, was it Dr. T Hassan?
Dr.
Yeah,
T.S. man, shout out to him.
shout out to Dr. Johnson. Basically just going through some movie reviews, and we sat up here and was trying to think of like what movies can we think of with some strong male role models, and it was really hard to come up with them. Like, after you think about it, like
Sad,
yeah,
sad man.
but like I forgot about Friday though. That's a good example that we didn't think of that day. But there was
Yeah,
that one. I think Boys in the Hood. What else we think about?
I told you I was watching that Concrete Cowboy.
Yeah,
That was a good representation.
yeah.
So,
I need to check
just
that
on the
one out.
relationship with the father and son. Um, yeah, man,
I need to check that out.
I can't think of too many, but especially when you talk about a black father,
Right,
like
right, right.
you got the Cosby Show. That was a different look.
Yeah. But
But
see,
yeah, you
man,
got.
crazy thing about the Cosby Show is we didn't even appreciate that shit, man, when it was out. You know what I'm saying? Like it was.
I appreciated it, man. I mean, it was funny, but it was still real.
Well, see, a
Um,
lot of people, you had a lot of folk, man, in our community that was looking down on that shit, like, oh, well, it's not
because they
real,
had
it's not
money.
this, it's not that. Yeah, because they
Because they
didn't
had
come from
money.
that. But man, I mean, it's always, we've always had them people, man, in our community. We've always had
Exactly.
good representation.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like, just because it's not something that it wasn't meant to be, a representation of the whole of the community. It's supposed to be an example of what it's supposed to look like and what it could look like if you put in the work. You know what I'm saying? But again, a lot of people look, they just didn't look down on that because it didn't look like them. Kind of goes back to the ideologies of normies and being stuck in your bubble. So much you got to expand your mind and get out there. Ain't no
Yeah.
different than like traveling. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stuck in the
Yeah.
same place, stuck in the
Yeah.
same city
Dog,
forever,
man.
not seeing nothing. You got to get out there and see
Man.
this, see
See
that.
the shit, man. And I think about another TV show. Everybody hates Chris. His father was working, man. Worked
Hmm.
two, 3 jobs to make shit happen.
I'll say that's a good example.
You
Now
know,
they kind of made him out to be a
clown at
yeah,
the
they
end,
kind
but
of yeah, kind of
but
a clown
but
like in a way
yeah.
in some
But
aspects, but
yeah. Sometimes Daddy act the fool. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
If we want to dig deeper into it, but
yeah.
it's very few, man.
Yeah, very few because I
So
mean in that series because I watched a decent bit of that. Even in that series, like
the
if
mama ran the
I
house.
was about to say, yeah, who ran that house? Like he was there, but still, like I'm saying, just the way they do. It's like, man,
She
like,
still renting the house.
yeah. So even then, like, they even in those aspects where you got them both in the same house, they are. It's always, putting mama over the top, like, and it's like, you got to give mama props, man. Like, you got to get a single mother's props that's out here doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Putting real male influence in they
Yeah,
kids' lives. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that
my
going
mama had
on.
to do with me.
Yeah,
Shit,
but
I
it's
mean, but like I say, once a boy becomes a man,
yeah, it's
it's
a wrap.
basically his choice.
Yeah, it's a wrap at
It's
that
his
point.
choices on how he want to handle his life, what kind of person he want to be. You know, and we don't have to come out winning out the gate. You know, sometimes it take a little bit longer for others, and that's just how I go.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to. And it's like, again, man, I try to be nuanced and see things from multiple different angles. I don't want to take nothing away from the women out there doing it the right way and doing what they had to do because they was put in a bad situation. But when you normalize that and pedestalize that and make it the norm, what I'm saying, now you kind of got an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because you downgrading or what you're doing is you taking away the importance of that man in the house and that man in the life. So you got to be careful with that, man. You really got to be careful with the way you put out these portrayals and these representations. It's got to be a balance there. And currently, right now, I mean, think about all these shows we're thinking about. This is shit 20, 25 years ago. This shit we talking about these shows. Look on TV now, you don't see none of that shit at all. Like, I can't think of nothing.
You know, he he not gonna be able to say things that a man would probably say.
Oh yeah, we got some feedback coming now. Oh, I mean, oh, my phone over there right next to yours. But nah, but I'm running off the headphone though. It shouldn't be picking up. But again, no technical difficulties, man.
Hey man,
Anyway, just
we're
quick.
gonna have to cut this one a little short today.
Yeah, just a quick
You
sample,
know,
man.
but I like the fact we jumped on here, tried this out for the first time, man. Like, y'all gonna hear more from us. We hope to be a part of the Mansfield community eventually.
well,
You know, but we gonna still do our thing anyway. It don't matter.
well, it's not even just a part. Just representing for manhood.
Represent.
Period, man. I really don't even gotta tie yourself to one particular group or concept or anything. Like, I'm pretty I'm pretty wide open, man, as far as the information that I absorb, multiple different topics. So we can always speak on anything, man. 2A, the politics, we can get on the manhood, we can get on whatever it is, man. And then just put them thoughts out there, thoughts that typically you don't get to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been so one sided for so long.
But this is the beauty of this technology now, man. Cause back when your old man, my man, they just had chop it up on the porch, like I say, or at the bar. And now you can make money from this if you're good at what you do, which is, again, it's work. It's all about putting in that work. It's crazy how times are now, where you can voice really your opinion on platforms and get respect from all different sides.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just about,
Yeah,
just perspectives, man. As long as people willing to open their minds up and listen, shit, just we always better off for that. Like, I just posted that on Facebook. I haven't seen that or Instagram. I put
yeah.
it somewhere. Shit, mine looks like a parachute. It works best when it's open. You know what I'm talking
Man, when I saw that parachute, I thought of something else with all them different colors, though.
about? You already know, man. I don't change my profile to no. Nah, I don't ride with that.
But I knew what
Well,
you were saying,
we
though.
yeah, we can. That's a topic for another day. You know what I'm saying? We can jump into
I knew where it was coming from, but I'm just saying.
that.
All right, though. But yeah, this is the first stream, and we gonna come back at y'all again. So we gonna just close it out. You know what I'm saying? And peace to everybody, and keep doing y'all thing out there.
All right, man. Peace.